Alright guys, welcome to Colabira. In this tutorial we are going to show you how to sum first and last digit numbers among group of numbers, right? So before we begin with our tutorial, let's try to recap on some of the things we did in our previous tutorial. In our previous tutorial we tried to find the sum of all even number passed to a method, and we first build the sub method where we test the conditions, and in the sub method we have a single parameters. After that we try to declare some variables and we try to test it with a for loop, and we got the conditions here that says if modulo 2 equals 0, so that is if the number passed is divisible by 2 and without remainder, then we have this sum plus equals last digit, and we say return sum, right? So we also test the conditions by saying if numbers is less than 0, then this will be returned, which says that -1. So if the numbers we pass here, if it is less than 0, then we have these conditions to return -1, right? Good. So in this tutorial we are going to show you how to sum the first and the last digit, just like we have this here. We have 9 here and we have 0 here, right? So let's assume that we have 6 here. So if you see in this system.out.println or this method, we have 9 and we have 6 here. So we are going to write a program that can only take 9 and 6 and sum it out, right? So let's try to do this. First we will comment this code first. We will comment this code before we begin our tutorial. Let's take it from here and we bring it downward. Here we go. Thank you. Alright, now let's try to apply our tutorial. The first thing we want to do is we come within the curly braces here. Since we already have our main class here, we come within the curly braces. We say public static int, and we say sum first and last digit. Sum first and last digit. Here we go. Then we try to pass our parameters. Let's put one parameter, int number, and here we say if. We always try to write the conditions. If numbers is less than 0, then there is no need to sum it. Then we come here, we say return -1, right? And we come next, we say int last digit, first digit, and divisor. Very good. So we try to declare all of this on one line. You could also come down and say int last digit, int first digit, int divisor, but it's always better to do it this way depending on your choice. Okay. Alright, now that we have this, what we want to do next is we come here, we say int total digits equals 0, int sum equals 0. Yeah, here we go. And let's say last digit modulo or percent. Let's say last digit equal number modulo 10. Yeah, it's better this way. And we say total digits equal found digit number. So here we have error because this is what we are going to use to build the count of the method of the variables that we will pass. So don't worry about this error, we will try to fix it pretty soon. Okay, so now we come here, we say divisor equal, and we try to cast it By casting it, what you do, you try to use the bracket and you pass the data type, right? So we say int. Now we are casting it. Okay, int math dot power, let's say math dot power 10, total digit minus 1. Yup. Now we say first digit equal number divided by divisor. Okay, so this divisor is the number this data type we declare here, right? Good. So now that we have that, let's say sum equal first digit plus last digit. All right, here we go, and we say return sum. Alright, now we have all set. Now the next thing now we want to do is to deal with this error. So we have to build a method for it that will count the numbers that we have passed. So we come next under this curly brace, we say public. We can use private or public, but let's use private, I think it's better. Let's say private static, and we say int. Then we call the name of this method. Now we come here and we call the name. We say find digit. Good. Find digit int number. So you see now the method color has changed now because it has been highlighted. Int number, and we say int count equals 0, while number is not equals to 0. What happens? Count should be plus plus. And here we try to return. We say return count. Here we go. That's all we need now. That's all we need. Okay. All right. Let's try to go over it first. Then we can see from the beginning. And I think here we go. All right. Now the next thing now we want to do is to pass some variables to these parameters. So we come within our main method. We say system.out.println, and we say the first, let's say 8, and we write a random number. We say 7. So if you do like this, we won't have it all correct. So what we need to do is to call the name of this method. So we come right here and we say system.out.print, and here we go. Alright, so we have the name of this method to be called now. You see it? Otherwise, you will come here and say sum, right? It's the same thing, okay? Alright, here we go. Now, the next thing now we want to do is to call the name of this method too, because we have two methods. This is the first method, and we have the second method here. So let's call the second method by saying SOUT, and we say find. Good. So when we say find, we just copy these numbers we pass here and we paste it in here. That's all we need now. Let's try to run it first and see if we have errors. Let's try to run it. Alright, here we go. Here we go. We're trying to await the result. What's happening? Okay, the compiler is a little slower. Okay, let's try to run it again. Let's try to run it again. All right, let's try to check the code. Let's try to check it because sometimes we have some oversight on some things. Okay, let's say this int is equal count 0. Okay, y. Okay, yeah, here we go. So you see, sorry, I had an oversight on this. Let's say number equal number, and we say divide by 10. Here we go. This is how it should be, and because after this, and we should have this so that we can have the numbers being printed, right? Good. So now let's try to test the program again and see what we have. All right, let's try to test it again. I think this time around we should have the result. I'm not seeing any more errors. Okay, I literally had an oversight on this one, so I passed over it. Let's see it. Let's see. Okay, it's running now. Here we go. Okay, so we have the result here. You can see we have 15 and we have 6, right? So now the program is running. First we had an oversight. Actually, I had an oversight in the past over this, but now we have already replaced it. Okay, so let's try to see what we have here. The first thing here is that if you sum 8 and 7 together, this is the result is 15. So the program is working perfectly. And then you also have the numbers, the amount of strings you have. You have about 8 digits here. So here is telling you the count of digits. You can see. Let's try to write some statement that will separate them. Sum of first and last digit. Good. Let's try to do it like that. All right, here we go. And we also come next. We say the count of all numbers. Can we say that? Digits. The count of all digits. Here we go. All right. So let's try to change some variables here. We just put some random number and we copy this. We copy this one. We paste it here. Here we go. Okay, and we try to run it. So I think it's better we come here. We run it pretty fast. So we see the result. So now what we did was we tried to write some comment that we identify for which this number is for and for which this other number is for. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. Basically, there is no much differences, only the statement we wrote here. All right, here we go. So we have the result now. This is the result. So here it says that sum of first and last digit is 16. So let's try to check that. We have here 8 here. 8 is the first digit and 8 here is the last digit. So the sum of 8 we have 16. Yes, that is working better. Then we also have the other method here that we tested. So if you count the numbers of strings of numbers here, the numbers here, the string of digit rather, if you count it here, we have about 8 digits. So let's say 2, 4, 6, 8. Good. So we have about 8 digits, and you can see here the count of all digits is 8, right? So the program is working correctly. Let's try to go over it. So the first thing we did was we created our class, and here we have our public static void main method. Here we try to build our sub method and we pass the parameter. We also build the conditions that say if the numbers is less than 0, it should print out -1. So let's try for these conditions, right? Let's try for this condition. So if this number is less than 0, right? So let's say 30 should be less than 0, -30 rather should be less than 0. Any numbers minus should be less than 0, I think. So let's try to print it out. No, I think this one shouldn't have a problem. Yeah. Is this conditions we are testing now? To do that, we come here and we run it. Okay, let's try to run it and see. Alright, here we go. So you see we have the -1 here because we are trying to apply this condition. So -30 here, which we pass in the parameters, is less than 0. So that's why you see the output here. Good. Alright, everything worked perfectly. So here we try to declare some variables, and we also have the next loop here that we try to find the count of digits we have. So just like what we have here, let's see, this one is for this to count the numbers of digits that we pass within the parameters. So this is all for this tutorial, and we stop here. Let's try to move to our next Java tutorial in this course. If you're just getting started with us, you might want to watch some of our previous tutorials. Don't forget to subscribe as we bring you more content. Thank you, and let's move to our next Java tutorial. Alright.